My friend Harry is an elite bike racer, and a couple of years back he built a bike to race on, almost all from parts from AliExpress. I know for a fact the bike is still in one piece, and last week he raced the National Road Race Championships on it. So, it must be going well? He came into the studio and he talked through what parts were good, what parts were bad, and how the bike is going 20,000 miles later. The bike is an Elves Falath Pro rim brake version with a Sensor Empire Pro 12-speed mechanical group set. Counterfeit EE brakes from AliExpress. We do not ever recommend you buy anything counterfeit. Custom painted 3T stem, SRAM red crank, elite carbon wheels, Continental GP5000s with latex tubes, and Ultegra front mech. Harry, you've now ridden 20,000 miles on this bike.
It's been a journey. There's been a lot of ups and a lot of downs on it. It's been fun. It's like taking care of a child that just breaks lots of things. Well, I'm probably the child that breaks lots of things on it. So yeah, this is the Elves Falath frame. It's the Aero rim brake frame. And it's their last year's model, or the year before. And it sells on AliExpress for 800 quid. I bought it for. It was like finishing issues with it. So the paint, like here, it's not, I think a frame should be clear coated fully. But it's like they've done a clear coat on here, but then not here or there. So it's like I think they maybe have done this, the white bit over the clear coat. Like the frame should just be like one clear coat, I think. So like you can kind of feel where it hasn't been coated properly, and it stains the paint actually. So the white bit I can't get fully white anymore. But that's like the least of the issues. The brakes weren't faced properly. There was like little bits of paints kind of overrunning it. But that's okay, I just sorted that out myself, but the average person probably wouldn't know how to. Bottom bracket was extremely tight fitting. Like I thought I was gonna snap the frame trying to get the bottom bracket in. Seat post kept slipping down. That has been solved recently by some Loctite in the bolt, but also I've wedged a bit of sandpaper in there. I think one of the main really annoying things is if you come around the other side, there's a rear outlet for the rear brake, but there's no inlet. So you have to route the rear brake through the headset. You can route the other gears through the down tube here, but it still leaves you having to route at least one cable through here, so you have to use this, which is a really stupid issue because brakes and like cables are not supposed to bend like that. So it's like it forces you to route everything kind of internally, or at least the rear brake anyway, which I find is quite stupid because the rear brake doesn't work as well. And with these brakes, these fake Ali brakes, anyone who has real or fake EE brakes knows that you have to like route the cable in a very certain way, otherwise it doesn't really work. And it's another barrier for that rear brake to work properly. These are not EE brakes. They're EE brakes but not EE brakes, so they were 100 quid on AliExpress as well. And the only reason why I bought them because they had really, really, really good reviews, and they've actually worked fine. You just have to route them properly. The cable has to come in a certain direction, and some frames allow that, some frames don't, and it's kind of based on your frame rather than the brake, like where the brakes are placed and what angle the cable can come in at. So that's why I've had to use this like little cable noodle thing on the back, otherwise it just doesn't come in properly. I had a stem snap on me, almost snap on me. I experimented with a AliExpress stem. That was the only thing that I was concerned about, and it broke. Yeah, there was a crack, and I was like, why is it spongy? As I'm like doing Crystal Palaces and stuff, and I'm like, oh, there's a crack in it. Yeah, so this is just a 3T stem that I've just painted myself. The saddle is my saddle, so that's fine. It's like coming off at the moment. But we could just say that it's body geometry technology that moves as I rock across the saddle. The wheels are elite wheels from AliExpress. It's a brand that just happens to sell on AliExpress. 82 on the back, 60 on the front. They've actually been pretty good, apart from the brake track that's worn pretty quickly and the spokes that seize pretty quickly to the nipples. So if you do need to true a spoke, you just need to replace it. The bearings on these were Chinese ceramic bearings. They actually have lasted extremely well. They lasted over a year. I hadn't changed them, serviced them, anything, and they were like spinning like perfectly. So I was really impressed with those. Brake track is like, yeah, you can see it's like basically it's gone. So like it was machined brake track, like the zip brake track, and then probably 6 months after, like the machine bit was just like gone. You can even see on the brake track how it was machined, and now it's like there's no brake track left, and the brake track was non-existent after like 7 months, and now it's like starting to dip in already. And I've only had the Wheelset a year and a half, about 20,000 miles on it. That's not that good, is it? the same brands, I had a hill climbing wheelset, and the brake track was like, it wasn't machines, but it was just like a brake track, and it was kind of gone after 6 months. And I messaged them on AliExpress telling them about it. Well, what do I do? And they told me to get some sandpaper and do it myself. I'm not joking. After the messages, I was like, oh, thanks Elite Wheels. But then I spoke to, there's another person who I was dealing with from Elite Wheels about these ones, and they were very, very nice. And her name was Suki. One thing about the wheels as well is in the crosswinds, they're not very stable, to be honest, because it's 82 on the back, 60 on the front. It's not very stable in crosswinds, and it makes it very hard to get a valve which is 82 mil depth, not 80 but 82. That's quite annoying. The Groupset, that's been an interesting one as well. I've had lots of little issues with it. The other day a pin actually fell out from here. Groupset is Sensor Empire, 100 quid for both shifters and front and rear derailleur. The front derailleur, throw it away, forget about it, don't try and make it work. Replace it with an Integra one. The rear derailleur moves a bit. Oh, yeah. So there's like there's a spring in here basically that stops it from moving around, and it's not very good. And as you can see, it moves around quite a bit. And I've replaced it once, and that's still happening. So that's not very good, is it? After about 1.5 years of using it, a pin fell out here. And I was in Surrey, didn't know what to do, and my mech kind of fell apart. And I saved it by getting a twig, shoving it in there and snapping it off, and that got me home. I'm not joking. So the Groupset is okay. The shifting I quite like. When it works, it works. When it doesn't, it doesn't. Because this is the thing, there's so many lots of little issues. There's not one big issue that I remember.
And you raced?
I've raced now 1.5 years on it. And
the National Road Race Champs?
I've just done the National
2
Road
days
Race.
ago?
Yeah.
And you were in the breakaway?
And the breakaway, yeah.
With World Tour riders?
That was fun, yeah. Yeah, that was good fun. Very hilly route, so an aero bike with aero wheels, it felt a bit sluggish up the hills, but on the flat it was flying. It is a very fast bike. It is very fast, but how well it works is just like a different kind of story.
If money was no object, would you carry on riding something like this, or would you opt for a bigger brand?
So if money was no object, no, I would be riding something else. But the thing is, the point is like it's kind of just as fast as other brands. If you would, that are like £10,000, but it doesn't work as well. So like Dura Ace Di2 would work 1,000,000 times better than this, and other wheel sets would work a lot better, and other frames and other brakes and etc. But I don't have like thousands and thousands, tens of thousands of pounds to spend, so I wanted to try and make something as fast for like 1/10 of the price.
How much was the total cost of this in the end?
I already had things like the crankset and stuff, and I've bought power pedals for it, but you could build a bike like this for just over around £2,000, I think. I think it was a really good project that I've done, and I've had a lot of fun. There's been a lot of ups and downs, but I'm kind of just getting sick of all the little problems, to be honest. I just keep on happening, and I don't see the problem stopping. So it was a good project, but I think I will probably have to change from this bike soon because it's just on its last legs. I do ride bikes into the ground, so if someone, I think maintenance is a big thing, but that I'm not very good at, but I'm kind of getting sick of all the little issues now, and I reckon I want something else, to be honest.
So the spec has changed slightly over the last couple of years. I'll put a link to the original video that we filmed when he first built the bike up in the description down below. And if you want to give Harry a follow, I'll put a link to his YouTube channel as well. I'm sure you'll join me in wishing him all the best for the racing season coming up, and thank you for watching.